Hi, kindergarten. So recently we have been talking about lines. Who can raise their hand and tell me, using their thinking cap, what happens when lines come together? What happens when you put different lines together? I hope that someone told us that when you put lines together, you create shapes. Now, some of these shapes you might remember, some of these shapes might look totally different to you. Now, for instance, this shape right here is a circle. But what if this circle was like a ball and it was 3D? We could actually touch it. What do we call something that is 3D and you could touch it? Raise your hand. I hope that somebody said form. Let's say form. Now, the form that we have here is called I hope we said spear. I know it's a spear because I can see shadow, there are light parts, and there are dark parts, and it looks like something I could pick up and reach for. Here's the difference between a shape and a form. A shape is, I hope you said flat, flat like a pancake, but a form is not. Now, there are many different shapes, and there are also many different forms. What is this one called? I hope we said cube. What is this one called right down here? I hope we said cylinder. Now, I know that this is not the best picture, but we're going to use our art investigator goggles anyway. Go ahead and put those on at this time. And when you are ready, I want you to start looking at this image. Don't take your eyes off it. We're going to look for 10 seconds. I will look with you. I'm going to count, and I want you to look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm going to call on 3 people. Raise your hand and tell me what you see. Here is a form by Maria Santana Martinez. This is an artist who creates out of clay. Raise your hand. I want someone to tell me, what do you think this is used for? What is it? Tell me something about it. Please raise your hand. So, I hope that I got a lot of really great responses. So, some artists like to create things that they can use. For instance, some artists use clay to create bowls, plates that they can eat off of, maybe have some soup, maybe it's a vase where they put flowers. People can create art because it has a useful purpose. Clay is a lot like mud and it is very soft. To make it hard, we have to put it in a giant oven called a kiln. Say kiln. A kiln can get up to 2,000 degrees, which is very, very hot. We actually have a kiln at Christie Elementary, and we're going to try this today. Using clay can be very dirty. There is a lot of rules when using it. I am giving you your warning now. Today will be a lot of fun, but if you cannot follow the expectations I will give you, then you will not create a clay masterpiece today. And that will be very sad. You will be left out, and that will not be any fun at all. When I give you instructions today, you will follow them the first time I give them. I will not wait around. I may have to ask you to sit out for this art project if we cannot follow the expectations. Whenever we are working on our own, you are allowed to talk, but it must be in a whisper volume. So we're going to practice that now. I will say a word and you will whisper it back to me. Whisper. Kindergarten. Clay. Form. Shape. Okay, great job. Let's move on to the art. So today we're gonna use this clay to create a pinch pot bowl, and it'll be made out of real clay. I'll have to put it in a big oven tonight and get it cooked so that we can have it for next time. But before we begin that, we're gonna have a little bit of Play-Doh in front of us. If you follow directions, it should still be closed because we're gonna use it to practice before we begin. Before we use the clay, we're gonna practice with the Play-Doh. So go ahead and open it up in front of you, and it should look like this. I should see your cap and the Play-Doh sitting right in front of you. Give me a thumbs up once you have it. Thank you. So now you can take the Play-Doh out. Remember, use your big, strong fingers. And what I want you to do is I want you to roll it with the palms of your hands. That's this part. And I want you to roll it into a ball, just like this. Once you have a nice little ball, go ahead and hold it like this so that I can see it. So maybe even hold it really high so I can see that you created a ball. Okay, now what do we call this form? I hope you said spear. To make a pinch pot, we have to pinch. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your thumb and you're going to push your thumb right into the middle of that ball and then pinch with your index finger, the one you point with, all the way around. So you can move your thumb now. Go ahead and pinch the sides all the way around, just like this. So we are practicing for our clay today. This will not be what we're taking home. We're gonna make something else in real clay that we'll have to cook overnight. Give me a thumbs up once you have a little mini pinch bowl like this. Good job. Now look inside. You should not see the table. It should look like a spear on one side, but a pinch pot on the other. Now it is time to do the real thing. Take your Play-Doh, put it in the cup, put the cap on top, and show me that you're ready by holding it really high up in the air. So, while I'm giving some instructions on the clay, I will be passing out these trays. There is a piece of newspaper on top. Do not touch it yet. You are not ready to use the clay yet. I have to train you. Before we use the clay, I'm gonna show you a little bit about it and tell you what I know about clay. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of the clay. This is about as much as you'll get. You won't get very much. This clay is kind of like mud. Can someone raise their hand and tell us maybe where clay comes from? Raise your hand. I hope that someone said from the earth. So what we're gonna do is we are going to make sure that there's no bubbles in this clay. It's really important that there's no bubbles because sometimes bubbles can get inside the clay. And if I put this in the oven, what do you think might happen? Raise your hand. If I have bubbles inside the clay and I put it in the oven, what do you predict will happen? Raise your hand. I hope that someone said it could explode. So when you get your clay, you are going to roll it with the what of your hands? I hope you said palm. The palm of your hands, roll it, roll it, roll it into what kind of form? I hope you said spear. And I'm gonna keep on rolling it. And then I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to put my finger inside, just like this. Now I did not go all the way through. And now I'm going to pinch the sides, just like this. So I'm gonna give you a chance to try this out for yourself. Show me fancy fingers by not touching your tray, and I will come and give you some clay. Once you get your clay, you can give it a try. Okay guys, yours should look something like this. Yours might look a little different, but there should not be a hole all the way through, and on the sides, it looks like a little pinch pot. It's really tiny. Now, here is the most important part of this. If you do not do this step, you will not get this back. It is that important. I need voice level 0 for this instruction. You are going to get a little needle like this. This needle Cannot bend. Don't bend the needle. It could break. The needle is not so that you can poke yourself. Do not poke a neighbor, and do not poke the tray. This needle is important because this is how we are going to write our name and table number on this pinch pot. What you are going to do is you are going to flip it over to the other side, the side I can't see, and you are going to use this like a pencil. This will take some time and concentration, so watch carefully. I'm going to write the letter of my name. My name is Mr. Boatfield, so what letter do you think I'm going to put? I hope you said B, but if my name was Matthew, I would put M. If my name was Roxy, I would put R. If my name was Patrick, I would put P. You have to put the first letter of your name here. You also have to put your table number. What table am I at today? I hope you said table 13. You are going to write the letter of your name and then the number of your table. So I would put B. And then I'm going to put 13. So B13 is what I'm going to put. I need to write this very carefully. I need to be able to see that there's a B, a 1, and a 3. Remember, you are sharing your needle with your neighbor. Do not poke anyone. If I see that you cannot follow these instructions, I will not put this in the oven and you will not be getting this back. This is so important. Once you and your neighbor have used the needle, I want you to give me a thumbs up in the air and I will come pick up the needle that you are sharing. After that, it is time to let this dry. Do not touch it again. I will come by and pick up your tray while we wait for it to dry. While we wait, we're going to clean our hands and clean our tables. So to show me that you're ready for the wet wipe, please push your tray far away where you can clean your table and clean your hands without any distractions.